Page 39, Tractate Círoבין. Today I would like to dedicate the study to all the fallen soldiers in the IDF. I have the privilege to serve many years, both in Lebanon and Gaza. Many friends lost their lives, and it's a very emotional day for many people. It's a matter of fact that those who visit Israel know that it's hardly any residential building with no families that lost their loved ones, and therefore today I would like to dedicate our study to all the fallen soldiers of IDF, and may Hashem give comfort to the families. Page 39, we continue the discussion. If a person wants to follow the important statement, which means when we're making Kiddush on Shabbat morning, we are making several statements. One of them is that on Shabbat we have to be in different state of mind. Our senses, our brain, our mind should focus on spirituality, not in other mundane daily needs. So since it's very difficult, because we're going from one state of mind, which is the 6 secular days, to a Shabbat, so there are certain restrictions, or you may say a certain guidance the rabbis have. So one of them is, we mentioned at the very end of 38b, so if, for example, a person should not go around his field to see what exactly he needs. In a practical way, if you're a builder, so you cannot go around the constructions and start making plan how you build certain things. So the same here, he said, 39, לא יטייל אדם על פתח מדינה כדי שיכנס למרחץ miyad. So basically, in those days, they used to have a Medina, in general it meaning state, but in those days the Vilna Gaon said that that's the place that the leadership dwell. It's like separate domain,
like the capital,
and it was in the Talmudic time was a time that people use a public bathhouse.
Mm-hmm.
So since it's forbidden to do it on Shabbat and festival, so we have the issue of doing those preparations, to do what you need. It should be in a way after Shabbat, not you make those plans to go to the certain places on Shabbat. So they said, if that's the case, Hadarbe. So he changed his mind, which means we discussed yesterday the idea of making Eruv in a silent manner. So here he divided between who, meaning that you are thinking about something but you're not actively doing something, versus Dibur, that you're actively planning something. Now here the point is, he tried to say that yes, something that you registered in your mind and your planning has an equal manner. In which way? We discussed yesterday, if you walk to a place that you're planning to that the Eruv, you walk to that place, so it in a sense has an equal manner, that the same as you are saying something, because what you do, you're demonstrating by going there that you are partaking of the Eruv. That's what Ritva said. So Gemara said, Velohi, this is not correct. Shamalei velo adarbe. Rabbah knew this braita, he heard it, but even though he heard it, he didn't change his mind. He said, Hatam, when he walked to the end of his field, Mochecha milta. It's clear that he went there for the purpose of tomorrow. Otherwise, why you go there? Why you go? Let's say if you own certain land or certain building or properties, and you going there, it's not the place that you dwell. You're going there and you're watching and you're walking and you're measuring. And why are you doing that? If not that you are planning to do something the following day. Hacha, but if he goes outside of the community and he walking there, what is his goal? To make the Eruv in a silent mode, just walking there. Lav mochecha miltai. So it's not clear that he went there because of the purpose to make an Eruv for the next day. So he said, Itzu v'mirabananu amrinan shmata ma'achshachti. If he's a Talmid Chacham, if he's a Torah scholar. So he goes there, he was so preoccupied with his study, he didn't notice that he is over there. Fine, that happened. V'yamaretzu, but if it's an uneducated person, amrin al chamara irkaslei. He lost his donkey, he's now searching for his donkey, so you need to find it. So basically, if the donkey is inside the Tchum Shabbat, so you can go there and bring the donkey back. The only thing Rashi said, what is forbidden, is if you need to plow, plow on Shabbat, or you have any pre-plan on Shabbat for Saturday night, for Motzei Shabbat, that's the issue. So as long as it's not clear from your action that you are doing something for the purpose of the following day, it's not considering as a dibur, as an feeling action, and therefore it's not a prohibition of preparation when he makes silent Eruv from Yom Tov to Shabbat. Now, Gufa, Omar Rav Yehuda. Now we go to what Rav Yehuda said earlier, we studied it yesterday. Eirav beraglav biyom rishon. He went before Yom Tov, he sat there, what is it, 2,000 cubits. And now the day, the sunset, he has already dwelled there. Now ma'arev beraglav basheni. He needs to do it separate for the second day. The idea that he did before that doesn't make a difference. Why? Because otherwise we have an issue, the Ritva explains, it's called mechin, like hachana, that preparation from Yom Tov to Shabbat, from festival to Shabbat. So, now it said, Eirav bepatri biyom rishon. If he made an Eruv by using bread at the first day, which means in the eve of the festival, for the purpose, he said it clearly, for the purpose of festival, Ma'arev befal b'yom sheni. So he used a bread on a festival for the purpose of Shabbat, as we said later. Erav befata barishon, if he made the Eruv in the bread the first day, and the bread was already eaten, Ma'arev beraglav basheni, which means he can make an Eruv in a festival for the purpose of Shabbat, because what we said, that walking there, it doesn't need expressions. You just walk there. So as long as we explained yesterday and day before yesterday that there is an idea, a person making Eruv while he's not involved in any speaking, he's just walking there, staying there, dwelling there until it's twilight. So that's not considering hachana, because you don't do the physical preparation. But if you do it with another bread, so you're basically preparing something for something else, and that's the issue of hachana, that you're preparing. Eirav beraglav barishon, if you walk to that location at the first day for the purpose of Yom Tov, ein me'arev bapad b'yom hasheni. So he cannot do it again, the same issue, she'en me'arvim betchila, bepat, the same story of achana. Achana meaning preparation. So now we explain, רב בפת ביום ראשון, מערב בפת ביום שני, אומר שמואל ובאותה הפת. The whole idea of doing it, it's applied to the specific. You use the same set, the same bread, and you use it only the one that you used in the previous day. That's fine. Because it's considering an Eruv from yesterday. So today you can do it while you don't express it, you just do it. But if you apply to something else, then it's an issue. It's like you make it's a new one. אמר רב אשי די קנה ממתניתין דקטנה. כיצד הוא עושה? We learn also in the Mishnah that said in the previous page how he made an Eruv in the food for the both days. Molicho barishon. He sent the emissary to a place that he make the Eruv at the eve of Yom Tov before Shabbat. Umachshich alav. He is staying until night that the Eruv will take place. Venot lo, uvalo. He pull out the Eruv and he returned to his place. Basheni, if it's the eve of Shabbat, it's also Yom Tov. So the agent returned the Eruv to a place that he would dwell. Umachshich alav. He wait until the Eruv take place. Veochlo ubalo. And then if he wants to use this Eruv, he can do it. And he returned to his place. So earlier we said that there is the issue of achana, of preparation. And here, if a person did from Yom Tov Shabbat, you see that it's not an issue, even with actual speaking about it. So, if you remember what we said earlier also, that the person should not go on Shabbat to his field and look and make a plan for the following day, because it's a preparation. Here, you said even a silent action is the issue. So they said V'Rabbanan. Rashi here explained that that's apply to Abaya, Rava, Bar Rav Chanin. What did they respond to that point in the Mishnah, that if someone make an Eruv from festival to Shabbat, he needs to use the same bread as he used at the first day? So it means that you cannot use a new one, because otherwise it's considering achana, a new preparation. So the Gemara said, Dilma atam eitzah tova kamashmelan. So the whole idea that we said that you should take it, this Eruv, and use it and save it and guard it for the second day, it was an advice. They want to guide us that the person should not make an extra effort to bring a new bread and make the Eruv for the second day. But the whole idea here of preparations, it's not an issue. It's just they want to tell us that you basically rely on a single Eruv in order to avoid preparation of another Eruv for the second day. But it's not something that if you wish, you can make the Eruv for the second day with a new one, and it's not the issue of achana from Yom Tov to Shabbat. We learn in the previous Mishnah, if you have Shabbat and Yom Tov, and we ask a question, is that considering in 1 day or 2 days? You remember that?
Yep.
Okay. So now, just a word of introduction. At that time, they have the Bet Din, the rabbinical court. They sent, before the end of the month, expert witnesses. They should go and bring back a report. What exactly is the time they see the moon, the time of Rosh Chodesh, and then they testify the two set of witnesses, and if the edut mechuvenet meaning they match the report from two sets, so they make Kiddush HaChodesh, they sanctify the month. So we said, if you don't see it, Im lo nireh, So Bet Din make Chodesh, which is the day of the 31st, and that day, the previous day, turned to be the last day of the previous month. Now, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Rosh Hashanah שהיה ירא שמא תתעבר. At that time, the Bet Din, the headquarters of the Bet Din have an issue, because if it's a month of Elul and it's a month that it's called a leap month, in a sense that it's 30 days, so Rosh Hashanah will be 2 days. Because, as we said in the Talmud, we don't have a clear-cut knowledge of what, it's all depend upon those witnesses. So they said, sometimes it's a problem, because between the time that you make the decision, the Bet Din make decision, until everyone hear about it and observe it, it takes time, and people doesn't know, and meanwhile it's already a holiday, Rosh Hashanah. So here a person needs to make an Eruv, and he needs to go from what a person is concerned that maybe it's going to be a Rosh Hashanah. Me'arev Adam Shnei Eiruvin. Remember we said that usually people don't do that? But here in this circumstance, a person can make, in the eve of Rosh Hashanah, 2 separate Eiruvin to 2 separate locations that he intend to go. ואומר, עירובי בראשון למזרח, ובשני למערב. The Eruv I make in the east side, to make it a Eruv and then a twilight for the purpose of tomorrow. And the Eruv I make in the west part, it's the same for the other side. בראשון למערב ובשני למזרח, the same apply, east-west. בעירובי בראשון ובשני כבני עירי. Remember we said that the first day it will be mine, the second will be like everyone inhabitant in the city, that it's only 2,000 cubit to each way. עירובי בשני ובראשון כבני עירי, ולא הודו לו חכמים. But the sages did not go along with that. Why does that mean? Because the sages hold that the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah can be divided in such a manner. Why? Because the sages hold that the Rosh Hashanah is considering
one continuous
Yom Tov, very good, and therefore it carry one kedusha
and only one tchum.
Excellent. So now you see that the sages said that you cannot hold it as 2 separate days, because if it's 2 separate days, it's called Safek Chodesh, Safek Chol. You don't know if it's a Kodesh,
right,
or if it's a Chol. So they said they have to have Kedusha Achat. That is one single level of Kedusha, of sanctity. So there are other disputation between Rabbi Yehuda and the sages, if it's a 1 Kedusha on 2. ועוד אמר רבי יהודה, מתנה אדם על הכלכלה, that a person may make a condition with regard to basket of tevel, produce. We explained that any produce that made in Eretz Yisrael, you cannot eat it, as long as you don't do tithe, right? Tithes, right? And this fruit is called tevel, and you are forbidden to eat it. And the Gemara said in Beya 36 that the sages put the rules, a decree that you cannot do this type of tithe on Shabbat and Yom Tov. So here Rabbi Yehuda come up with a new invention, new idea how to do it. So he said, Matne Adam ala kalkala. A person may make a condition with regard to a basket of tevel produce, B'Yom Tov Rishon, on the first day of the festival. And that's the way he did. And he made a condition. He said, if today is the festival and tomorrow is the ordinary week, I will separate the teruma and the tithes tomorrow, and I have performed nothing today. If today is an ordinary weekday, so I now separate the appropriate teruma and tithe now. So they said, ve'ochla ba'asheni. So now you can eat, because it was the condition, so you can eat it the second day. Ve'beitza shenolda barishon. Also, it's similarly an egg that was laid on the first day of the festival. Te'achel basheni, may be eaten on the second day.
So Rabbi Yehuda holds that the days are separate days then, essentially, that it's not one continuous day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Velo הודו לו חכמים.
But the sages
Sages not agree with him with regard to these 2 days. Another machloket. If the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah it's 1 day or 2. Rabbi Dosa ben Harkinas אומר, העובר לפני התיבה. You have teiva, it's the ark, it's the shulchan, where you have in a shul you have this.
Oh, okay. Well, you.
Yes, the
you
one
the
who
Torah to read from.
Yeah, the one who stand before that is called over lifnei teva, stand before the ark. So that's a famous Gemara in Ta'anit. Anyway, however lifnei teva, one who passes before the ark in the synagogue and lead the congregation in prayer, B'Yom Tov shel Rosh Hashanah, the first day of the Rosh Hashanah, Omer, what he said in his prayer, Hachlitzenu, meaning strengthen us, Hashem Elokeinu et Yom Rosh HaChodesh hazeh. Almighty God, this Rosh Chodesh, which means Rosh Chodesh because it's Rosh Hashanah, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now the thing is, that was a Hava Amina, that's the way he thought, right? But if it's tomorrow, so we ask you to do it tomorrow. Im hayom, im lemachar, right? Ulemachar, who Omer in the second day of Rosh Hashanah, he said in his prayer, Im hayom, im emesh. So it's like making a condition, since we're not sure, so whatever it is, God give us the strength. So what it is, velo dulo, chachamim, the sage disagree. So what did Rabbi Dosa say? Rabbi Dosa said 2 points. That when you make a prayer for Rosh Hashanah, you should also mention the Rosh Chodesh, which no one else said. Another thing he said that you have to put a stipulation while you pray. Okay, because otherwise it looks like you're not expressing the truth, since you're not sure if today is the proper beginning of the year or not.
So his implication is the reason it's 2 days is because we don't know, we're not 100% sure which day is the actually Rosh Chodesh.
But the rabbis didn't go, so they didn't go that direction. So now the Gemara said, who is the rabbis that disagree with Rabbi Yehuda? My Lord Dulo. Who are the sages who did not agree with Rabbi Yehuda? Omar Rav Rabbi Yossi. He said, this is Rabbi Yossi. That he hold that it's one kedusha for both days, Rosh Hashanah, and he said that the Tanya, Modim Chachem Rabbi Eliezer b'Rosh Hashanah she'areh shemeti yitaber. If a person is concerned Rosh Hashanah, maybe it's a leap, and then he needs to go outside of the city domain on the first day, and then the second day, the other side, מערב אדם שני עירובין, can make 2 עירובין, ואומר עירובין בראשון למזרח, בשני למערב, בראשון למערב, בשני למזרח, עירובין בראשון ובשני כבני עירי. Simple, right? That's what we said earlier. עירובין בשני ובראשון כבני עירי. So it means the sages that disagree with Rabbi Eliezer in regard to Shabbat and Yom Tov, that they are attached to each other, they agree that you can make 2 separate Eruvin to 2 separate days of Rosh Hashanah, because one day of Rosh Hashanah it's a festival, and the second one is the secular day. And each one of them it's considering maybe a holiday, maybe a regular day. It's not considering one long day. Rabbi Yossi disagree, Oser, he forbidden. אמר להם רבי יוסי, אתם מודים שאם באו יודעים מן המנחה למעלה שנוהגים אותו יום קודש או מחר קודש. You agree that we observe that if that the day is sanctified and also following day is sanctified, that which means that the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah are not observed out of doubt which one is the proper day. We said that it's a long day, Kedusha Achat, and it's a one sanctity. So therefore it's not possible to make it separate. 39b ורבנן התם כהכי דלא לזלזולי בי. So it was a time that the Beit Din make a decision whom they accepted. They in other words, it was a time from the mincha, from the afternoon service and onward, that the rabbis put limitations how late they can accept witnesses. So those witnesses that come after the offering of Ben Arbaim, in between, that it's not twilight yet, so even the rabbis put a prohibition against doing any word from the time of Mincha and onward, but it's considering a regular secular day. Why? Because they postponed the Rosh Hashanah for the following day. So the only reason the sages made a decision not to do a walk is in order to avoid people to demean the day in future years and end up desecrating the festival. But by the Torah law, it's a regular week, and a person can establish 2 separate Eruvin for the 2 days. Then the Mishnah said, "Ve'od amar Rabbi Yehuda." We said in the Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda said that matnei adam al hakalkala biyom tov harishon ve'ochla b'sheni, that the 2 days can be split with regard to a basket of tevel produce and an egg laid on the first day of the festival. So now the question is, the Mishnah brought 3 different points to the name of Rabbi Yehuda. Number 1, that the person can make 2 Eruvin to 2 days of Rosh Hashanah. Number 2, that you make a conditional tight. Number 3, that egg that was laid the first day of Rosh Hashanah allowed to use on a second day. So all of that, it's based on the assumption that when it's come to Rosh Hashanah, it's a 2 separate kedushot, right? So they said, Vutzricha. Why Rabbi Yehuda needs to be lenient in all these 3 points? The Ashmi inan Rosh Hashanah. If we go by the Rosh Hashanah, the first part, Behakama Rabbi Yehuda, we may say that Rabbi Yehuda is more lenient, Mishum de lo ka'avid midei, because all the preparation made in advance. Aval mikalkala the mechzek im taken tivla. But if you use a untied produce, it appears that what he do, it appears that one is rendering tevel feet on a festival. So one, he said that Rabbi Yehuda concedes to the rabbis that is the decree prohibited. So therefore Rabbi Yehuda needs to tell us that even this one is allowed. Now go the other way. V'yashminan hanei tartei mishum deleka lemigzar alayu, because you're not allowed to forbid them again because of that decree. Aval beitza but the egg that was delivered at the first day of Rosh Hashanah, דאיקה למגזר בי, משום פירות הנושרים, because you can make a decree, the fruit fall from a tree due to liquids that oozed from the fruit on a festival. So this is a famous decree that a person can go up on that tree and cut part of the branches, and therefore egg, its part is included in that prohibition. And also mishum mashkim shezavu, due to the liquid that oozed from the fruit on festival. Eima modelu lerabanan, you may say that Rabbi Yehuda agree with the sages and forbids the egg that was born on the first day of Rosh Hashanah also on a second day, because Rabbi Yehuda hold that 2 days of Rosh Hashanah are
two days, Rabbi Yehuda.
2 days, two separate. So he said, tzricha. So here we need Rabbi Yehuda to tell us that he is going more lenient, because he holds that 2 days of Rosh Hashanah, there are two separate kedushot. Now, we said that according to Rabbi Yehuda, the Mishnah tells us that the person can make a tithe on Rosh Hashanah, a conditional tithe. Tanya, כיצד אמר רבי יהודה? מתנה אדם על הכלכלה ביום טוב ראשון. How a person make this condition properly. So he said a person may make a condition with regard to a basket of table produce on the first day of the festival, and then ואוכלה ביום שני. And you can go ahead and eat it the second day. This is the order. היו לפניו שתי כלכלות של תבל, אומר, אם היום חול מחר קודש תהיה זו תרומה על זו. If he has two baskets of tevel produce before him, he said, if today is ordinary weekday and tomorrow is sanctified, let this basket be teruma for that basket. And if today is sanctified and tomorrow is ordinary weekday, my statement carry no meaning. So that's one way. Vekore aleha Hashem, which means he put this condition, and the Sfat Emet explains that it's like he designated that, it's like in a way put it aside, umanicha, but yet he cannot use it. He put it aside, he cannot use it until the following day. Ulemachar, for the next day of Rosh Hashanah, he go ahead and he said, Im hayom chol tehezo truma al zo. If today is ordinary weekday, let this basket be truma for that basket. Now, ve'im hayom kodesh, which means yesterday was a regular day, and bidvarai klum, because this fruit became retroactively a truma yesterday. Vekore aleh Hashem ve'ochla. So then he called it a tithe, so because he designated for that purpose, and he can go ahead and eat from that fruit, because basically now he's no longer carried the tevel. Rabbi Yossi Oser, he said that he cannot do it on Rosh Hashanah. Why? Because it's considering one kedusha, it's like one long Yom Tov, בשני ימים טובים של גלויות. So there's like us, when you live in the diaspora. So the whole idea of the second day, we observe it because of the doubt, which one is the proper day, which we observe the festival. So he said, "Ahu bar tav yadata levei resh galuta." So we bring that situation that it was a hirsch, a young deer, that came to the house of the Resh Galuta, the exilier. It's like exilier usually is the descendants of King David. That's the head of a community. The Itzid b'Yom Tov Rishon shel Galuyot, that the non-Jews hunted him at the first day of the festival. Ve'ishtechid b'Yom Tov Sheni, and they slaughtered that deer on the second day of Rav Nachman v'Rav Chizda achlu, Rav Sheshet lo achal. Rav Nachman v'Rav Chizda, they ate from it, and Rav Sheshet did not eat from it. Why? You tell me. What's the reason?
Well, it was first of all, he was captured on a Yom Tov, but even though it was a Gentile that captured it, we can't benefit from.
That's Rav Sheshet opinion.
Yeah, that's Rav Sheshet. I see the other wall, and then the question is if
but
you
it's
don't
also
know,
the issue of 2 days.
right? But if you don't know which day is actually Yom Tov, and then potentially if the first day was the Yom Tov, then the second day they can slaughter it and eat it, and because it's not Yom Tov. The first day was not Yom Tov, then they captured it they didn't capture it on Yom Tov, they captured it on non. So.
Excellent. Amar Rav Nachman ma evelu leRav Sheshet velo achil bisra tavya. What do we do to him? He's not eating from this deer. Amar leRav Sheshet ve'ech echol. How do you expect me to eat it? The Tane Isi, that Isi learned, and he said that it's all considering as one day. Ve'amre la Isi Tane, and there are those said Isi Tane. So Rashi here used the word Klomar, and I explain it in my book on Rashi, on the Klomar and Rashi, that it's basically ask here a question. Either because it have a different gersa that the veheicha eichol, or there is another option that why those who are allowed to eat it. What's the idea of allow eating it? It's like the whole concept. He doesn't understand it. וכן היה רבי יוסי אוסר בשני יומים טובים של גלויות. רבי יוסי also forbidden in 2 days of the diaspora. אמר רבא ומאי קושיא. What's the question of Rav Nachman and Rav Chizda דילמה הכי כי אמר וכן רבי יוסי אוסר בשני ימים טובים של ראש שנה בגולה. That Rabbi Yossi forbidden in the 2 days of the in the exile. So again, if you cut the deer on the first day, you can go ahead and eat it on the second day, because he holds that in the diaspora it's all considering 1 day.
Rab Sheshet might be right, I feel, because it was captured by a Gentile and we don't know how the Gentiles slaughter it.
No. The Gentiles captured it, and then it was brought and then slaughtered on the second day. And so the assumption is it was slaughtered in a kosher manner.
Okay.
The slaughter was okay. The question was, the problem is if they captured it on Rosh Hashanah, or the first day of Yom Tov, we can't benefit. I mean, in the same way we couldn't go trap it, we can't benefit from them doing it, from a non-Jew doing it.
Okay.
So.
So if so, the phrase of the diaspora is inappropriate. We should say in diaspora. So Amar Rav Sheshet umay kushya. What's the question of the Rav Nachman Rav Chizda? דילמה אחי כאמר וכן רבי יוסי אוסר בשני ימים טובים של ראש שנה בגולה. דילמה אחי כאמר וכן רבי יוסי אוסר בשני ימים טובים של גלויות, כי שני ימים טובים של ראש שנה לרבנן דשארו. So you say that Rabbi Yossi will treat the prohibition of such a produce on the 2 days of festival in diaspora as on the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah, which is, according to the rabbis, that they allow, is like the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah, that the rabbis are more lenient. Now, the truth of the matter is that Rashi here elaborates on that at length, and he tried to juxtapose when we go on the 2 days to one rat. The idea is that the same way as the sages disagree with Rabbi Yossi, and they are more lenient with the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah, and they hold that it's a question you don't know, and therefore it's like two separate kedushot. The same as Rabbi Yossi is more lenient in 2 days of the days in diaspora, that it's like two separate kedushot. אשכחי רב ששת לרבא בר שמואל. רב ששת מת ורבא בר שמואל. אמלי תני מר מידי בקדושות. Did you learn anything in regard to two sanctities on the festival? And so he said, Amar lei Rabba bar Shmuel said to him, Tanena modeh Rabbi Yossi b'shnei yomim tovim shel galuyot. We learned that Rabbi Yossi agreed in regard to 2 days of the festival in diaspora. Amar lei Rav Sheshet said לרבא בר שמואל, אם משכחת להו, if you meet Rav Nachman and Rav Chizda, לא תימא להו ולא מידי. Do not tell him anything of what they just told me. Let's use the Tanaic source to embarrass me about the festival to eat. אמר לרב ששת, לדידי אמר להמימר. Amemar told me that the deer was not trapped on the festival. Ahu bar Tavia, the love eats 2 days its seed, Ela michutz latchum ata. 40. Ela michutz latchum ata. That these deer were brought to the exilier outside of the domain by non-Jews that day. So the whole idea is that you need to wait. בכדי שיעשו, you need to wait a little time before מאן דאכל רב נחמן רב חיסדא דאי צבא רבה בשביל ישראל זה מותר לישראל אחר. Since it's brought to the exilier, so others can eat it. מאן דלא אכל סבר כל דעת לבית רגלושה דעת על דחו לרבנן עתר. Whoever brought to the exilier, they come from everyone. Which means the person know that others will constantly derive joy from that, and therefore it's forbidden also for them. We just said at this story, I said, לא היו דברים מעולם. It will never have this type of conversation between the two. Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim 306. In general, we shouldn't do on Shabbat preparation for the following days, so it's prohibited to walk in one's field on Shabbat for the purpose of determining what it will be required after Shabbat. This rule only applies when it's evident that it's in one intention. We said that one who established an Eruv with bread for 2 days must use the same bread for both days. And we said the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah are considered as 1 day, and consequently one may not establish separate Eiruvin in 2 different directions for the 2 days. That's the opinion of the sages. We also talk about the condition with regard to a basket. We said one may stipulate a condition and separate Trumah from a basket of Tevel produce on the first day of the festival when he eats the produce on the second day. However, this will only apply to the 2 festivals they observe outside of Eretz Yisrael, but not on Rosh Hashanah. We also discuss a animal that was trapped by a non-Jew on the first day of a festival and may be eaten on the second festival day observed outside of Eretz Yisrael once the time is necessary for trapping it has elapsed. But the tour, citing the Rosh, stringent and prohibited eating the deer until the second festival day is ended, b'chdei sheyasu, and the time necessary for trapping it was elapsed, so that the Jew did not come to ask a non-Jew to trap it on the festival. This custom is to be stringent on this matter, But to practice leniency for the sake of guests, the Shulchan Aruch Or HaChaim in 515 said that for some guests it's fine, you can do it.
Kare tu